And what's going on, guys? Tonight we are double dipping. You got to witness the return of baseball banter, but a few minutes ago, and now you get to sit through our nice show inside the huddle. And as always, I'm joined by my brother from another mother, kid with the golden locks, your best friend of mine, Mikey Hewitt. Mike, you're back again so soon.
Yeah, still hyped for baseball, but why not? Let's talk some football since
Let's
it's
talk
on week
exactly. Let's
14.
talk some football.
Yeah.
So tomorrow night, let's begin. Cowboys at Bears. Who you taking?
Well, you know what month it is, John, right?
Yeah.
It's December. Kind of when the Cowboys go into their tailspin, and I know people are going to say, hey, this is a different Cowboys team. Give me the Bears. Chicago, I think, is out of it. I mean, I know they're still kind of in it. Are they still in it? Can they still make the playoffs? I know they had a bad loss against the Lions.
They're
They,
they're they're
they need a lot of luck, right? They need a lot of things to happen.
yeah.
I still think the Bears win. They're at home. Dallas. I mean, Philadelphia shit all over the Cowboys. Mark Sanchez shit all over the Cowboys. I think they're gonna lose.
I'm going with the Cowboys. The Bears, I think, only have one home win all year. They suck ass.
They
Just
do. They
their
do. But the
defense
Cowboys
is not
historically
good.
suck in December.
I know, but their defense is not good. They still got DeMarco Murray, who's a beast. They still got Des Bryant, who's a beast. I'm going with the Cowboys. I can't. The Bears have shown me nothing that they're going to be able to beat the Lions. And I knew the Bears were on the road, fine, whatever. But the Lions made the Bears look terrible. So, and the Bears have looked terrible all year. I mean, look what the Packers did to them, and look what the Patriots did to them. You know, I'm not saying the Cowboys, the Packers, and the Patriots,
They're not.
but they got a great running back, and they got good wide receivers, and their defense, I think, is just good enough to make Jay Cutler look even. And it's Jay Cutler on the ball. He's good for 2 picks. Sorry, Cowboys are winning this game. Steelers at Bengals. Who you taking?
I'm taking the Steelers. I usually tend to pick the Bengals when they're at home. I know Cincinnati squeaked by the freaking Buccaneers last week, and it was good for Marvin Lewis, or whatever the fucking name his coach is, to get the 12-man on the field call with a minute and a half left. But
Yeah,
Pittsburgh,
how did the refs fuck that up? I was
yeah,
watching it. How do you fuck that up?
I don't know. That pissed me off because you can't challenge under 2 minutes, and he threw the flag, which the bottom line is Tampa Bay should have won that game because the referees don't know how to do their job, but that's neither here nor there. I'm taking Pittsburgh because they lost to home to New Orleans. They're still in this race for the division. Right now, Cincinnati leads the division by a game, I think, or something like that. Pittsburgh needs to win, and I like Ben Roethlisberger in crunch time, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to squeak by and win this one. It'll be a close matchup. I'm thinking like 23-21, something like that.
I don't like the Steelers on the road ever. I just don't. I gotta go. Cincinnati. Andy Dalton is just terrible. I don't think
I
he's
don't
that.
like Cincinnati in big games.
Yeah,
This is a big game.
I agree, but Andy Dalton's not good. But I don't trust Ben Roethlisberger on the road. They lost to the Jets, for fuck's sake. They've lost to Tampa Bay, for fuck's sake. They've been known to lose to some shitty teams. I'm
That's a fair point.
gonna take Cincinnati at home. I don't like either one of these teams really that much. I think if these teams make the playoffs, fine. Cincinnati, I think, is the worst 8-3 team there is in the NFL right now. I really do.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to pick them to win, but that's just because I don't trust Ben Roethlisberger on the road, and they've lost to some shitty opponents this year. St. Louis at the Redskins. Who you got?
I'm taking St. Louis. I mean, the Rams fight, man. I really respect that team. I like Jeff Fisher. I know there's been some controversy lately with the whole stuff going on in Cincinnati, particularly Ferguson, Missouri, but whatever. They're not a bad team. They're your quarterback that you mentioned. He's like in his late 20s. He can play a little bit, and the Redskins suck. I know.
It's been Sean Hill the last 2 weeks. They got rid of Anthony, or no, his name started. His last name started with a D. It was Davis, something Davis, or was it that? Austin Davis was his name.
All right, but they fight. I like that team, and the Redskins. I know they looked a little bit better with Colt McCoy at quarterback last week against Indianapolis, but I just think St. Louis is the better team. And right now, if you're Washington, I mean, I know the players are still going to play for pride, but they're better off losing out, for the sake of draft status.
Well, we're going to talk about that here because the next game is the Giants and Titans. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But RG3 is not playing, and I'm pissed. And I only want RG3 to play for one reason, because I'm selfish. When RG3 plays, Alfred Morris's numbers are historically better. There's no denying it. I am in the goddamn playoffs right now for fantasy football.
Me too.
If I win, I get $650. If I get bounced in the first round because Alfred Morris is the player I need to do good, and he's solely the reason why I lose, and Colt McCoy's ass is starting, which he probably is, I think. I don't think they
I would imagine, yeah.
I am going to flip a fucking Alfred Morris. I'm in the playoffs. I have the best team in my league. I have $650 on the line. You better fucking show up. And I'm scared because the St. Louis Rams defense has looked really good. They absolutely destroyed the Raiders 52-0. They beat the Broncos already, so you can't just say that was an anomaly. So they've beaten some good teams. That St. Louis defense that people were like, oh, it's really suspect, got shit on. I remember when they played the Saints, they came out really good, whatnot. They scored like 14 points, and the Saints came back and beat them. It was on a Monday Night Football game.
That was against San Fran, but whatever. I see your point.
Against San Fran. You're correct. My bad. It was in St. Louis, too.
Mm-hmm.
So they got that going for them, but I think the Rams have a potential to finish out 8-8, 9-7. I think they're on that kind of streak. Their defense has been playing that good. They've beaten some teams. Sean Hill has looked really good with them since taking over. But I'm taking the Rams. But God damn it, I'm scared because Alfred Morris has got to play up against a defense that's been putting up, and I need to win because I want $650. So show up, Alfred Morris. Giants at Titans. Now you were talking about playing for draft position, and I think if the Giants lost to the Jaguars doesn't show that. I don't know.
A 21-3 lead. They blew a 21-3 lead. They fumbled the ball a couple times. Good God, it was brutal.
Well, here's the thing. Tom Coughlin's probably like, look, guys, I'm probably not going to be here next year. Let's be honest. The talent on this team we got is not that good. Our defense sucks, and we got Odell Beckham Jr. He's good, but the rest of you guys are kind of shit. Just lose this game, don't win, because all you're going to do is hurt our draft stock. Neil Manning's like,
I fundamentally disagree with you. I'm taking the Giants in this one for the simple fact that, you know what, right now the Giants are an embarrassment to both New York franchises in the NFL are an embarrassment. Or both the Jets and Giants, not the Bills, but whatever. I think the Giants are going to play for pride, and I think they're going to get Coughlin a win. I don't want that to happen. I've been asking for them to lose out since they fell to 3-5. But I think they're going to beat Tennessee. I know the Titans have looked a little bit better lately, but there's something in my head telling me the Giants. I mean, the Giants haven't won since week 5. They went to 3-2 and haven't won a game since. So I think they're gonna win, and I'm pissed about it.
My boy Zach Mettenberger has looked really good the last couple of weeks. He got hurt, got knocked out the game, but he is expected to play this Sunday. The Giants let the Jaguars have their biggest comeback win ever against them. The Titans are winning this fucking game because the Giants are an awful, awful team.
They are.
Awful. If it wasn't for Odell Beckham Jr., I would have no reason to watch this team. He is simply the reason why I watch this, and I like watching Eli Manning throw interceptions because it makes me feel good about myself. So, Titans are taking this game, and the Giants are going to lose to another bad team.
The Giants are a bad team. It's not really an indictment on the Giants. I mean, they're a bad team themselves. So.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying, though, when you let the fucking Jaguars, Blake Bortles, a rookie quarterback, come back and have their largest franchise win ever, I'm sorry, dude. They're not.
I'm happy about it. Keep losing games, Giants. Keep losing.
Oh, that's not a hard one.
One more thing. It's finally time that Giants fans have finally joined me, who's been asking for this for now over a year, to get Coughlin out of the head coaching position, and Jerry Reese for that matter. I'm so sick of it. It took a Jacksonville comeback for them to finally start saying, hey, changes need to be made.
I've been preaching the Giants have been shit for a few years, so I've been on that bandwagon with you for a little bit and get rid of Tom Coughlin. So
you're not biased at all, John, right?
Fuck, goddamn Eli Manning. All right, next game, Panthers at Saints. What a great fucking matchup this is.
Oh my God, I'm taking the Saints. I mean, the Saints looked impressive on the road, somewhere they never play well, in Pittsburgh. In that crappy stadium with that weather, playing on grass. And Drew Brees lit it up. I think they put 35 points on the board. I know the Steelers have been shaky. I know we already talked about them, but I think taking down Pittsburgh in their building is not an easy thing to do, especially for a team that's been so bad this year in the New Orleans Saints. The Panthers looked even worse than the Saints this year, so I'm taking New Orleans big time.
Cam Newton is terrible. Here's what I hope for the Panthers every game now, because I got Calvin Benjamin on my fantasy squad. I've mentioned this a million times. I like the Panthers to get down by 28 points, so Calvin Benjamin gets 2 garbage time touchdowns. That's what I hope for every week. Because Cam Newton, when he's trying to play serious and get him the ball, and the defenders are actually playing when it's not garbage time, he is terrible. Cam Newton has looked terrible this year. The worst I have saw him play. His pass accuracy is garbage. That whole offense looks in sync. That whole team looks in sync. And the sad part about it is they're 2 fucking games out of first place.
And they're going to get and if they won out, let's just take the hypothetical. They get a home game. They'd be hosting, would it be Seattle? They'd be hosting Seattle in the wild card game.
Yep.
That's the way it goes.
With that said, the Saints, I don't think they've got a home win in their last 3 tries?
Since they shit on those Packers.
Yeah, since they shit on those Packers, but they haven't got a home win. But The Saints this year are doing something that they haven't historically done a lot. They're actually like the number 3 or number 4 rushing team in the NFL this year. What do they got? They got the eighth best rushing attack. Mark Ingram has really come on this year, and he's having a great year. So I like that. They're at home. Drew Brees, obviously, he's always going to throw for 300 yards. So I'm taking the Saints because the Panthers are terrible and Cam Newton is garbage. So I'm taking the Saints. Jets and Vikings. Oh, just say a team. Don't even reiterate. Just say someone.
Vikings.
All right, Vikings. They're playing at home. Jets suck. Just fire fucking Rex Ryan already. God damn. I just want to see him gone. Ravens at Dolphins. This is a good game.
It's a really good game, and I'd like to see the Dolphins win, but I think after the way the Ravens lost last week to San Diego with that pass interference bailout call, I hate bailout calls in the end zone, that got the Chargers the win, who didn't deserve it. I think they're going to win. Miami was, I think, in a similar position a year ago. They were in the playoff hunt. They were a playoff seed with a couple weeks to go, and then they crumbled. They barely squeaked by the Jets 16-13. I know they played great against Denver and lost, but that performance against New York last night or Monday night was unacceptable, and they're lucky they squeaked by with a win. So I'm taking Baltimore. They're the better team, and that's what I'm going with. It won't be easy, though, playing in Miami.
That game was one of the most boring Monday Night Football games I've ever watched in my life. Like, I couldn't wait for it to be over. It sucked. But
they really should have lost. I mean, Nick Foles missed two kicks that he usually makes.
I'm going to take the Dolphins. I love their defense. They played the Packers super, super close at home. They almost beat them and took a last-second touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers. Their defense is super good. Their defense does not get enough credit to the Dolphins' defense.
No, I agree with you.
And they play really good at home. So I'm going to take the Dolphins to upset the Ravens at home. The Ravens, the way they lost last week, and they've had a couple of bad losses this year, it just doesn't show me that they're a team that I just don't think that they're going to come in and be able to overtake Miami at home, because I just really trust Miami's defense. I really like what Tannehill's been doing. He's looked really good ever since he almost got benched. I'm going to take the Dolphins as an upset to be. I guess you could consider that an upset, I guess.
Yeah, it's close. It's close. I mean, you got to respect the Dolphins' defense, so it wouldn't be that much of an upset.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one. I got a feeling about them. Colts Browns. Just mind you, Brian Hoyer did get named the starting quarterback.
Yes, he did.
It kind of pissed me off because I wanted to see Johnny Manziel. Dude, when Johnny Manziel came in that game, I was hyped. I was like, yes, Johnny Football's in there. Because I got me a man crush on Johnny Football.
I know.
He comes in there. He's rifling balls down the middle of the field. Lucky a couple of them didn't get picked.
Yeah, one of them almost did.
But, I mean, they're fucking like – almost I was like – I had to rub my eyes. I'm like, God damn, is that Brett Favre out there? Because Favre would notoriously do that shit because he had such a great arm. He would just launch shit down the middle of the field and just barely squeak it in there through the defenders like Aaron Rodgers does. But Aaron Rodgers has a bit better accuracy when he does it. But, I mean, he gets down to the red zone, and then he runs that ball in for a touchdown. And I'm at work. I'm like, yeah, Johnny Football, fuck yeah. And then they named Brian Hoyer the starter, which didn't surprise me because, let's be honest, he's won them a lot of games this year. They got to a good start with Brian Hoyer as quarterback. So it didn't surprise me that Mike Pettin named Hoyer the starting QB. But this goes to show that Hoyer shoots the bat again, which the Colts are going to beat them.
Absolutely. It's Indianapolis.
What did Andrew Luck do? 5 TDs, Mikey boy.
Got me 40 points, dude. Go Andrew Luck. I'll take it every day. He got me to the playoffs. 11-2, by the way, my fantasy team, just so you know.
5 more TDs, 350 more yards. The Browns aren't going to beat them. So I'm taking the Colts. What's he? All right.
Yeah, I agree. Indianapolis.
All right. So, and I hope, honestly, I want Cleveland to make the playoffs because I've been riding their bandwagon, but I don't think they're going to do it because I think the AFC, especially with the AFC North, how many 7-5 teams there are. I mean, they had
and where the Browns stand, they're like the worst 7-5 team right now that would make the playoffs. Like they're on the bottom of the barrel. It's Kansas City ahead of them, Miami, all the other teams that are in the race that are 7-5.
I don't think they're going to make Pittsburgh. I don't think they are, but I'm just hoping they lose this game big, so my boy Johnny, I can have a reason to watch the last 4 Browns games this year because Johnny Manziel will be starting them. So. Go Colts, beat the shit out of the Browns. I want Johnny Football in there next week.
Go Andrew Luck. Bucks Lions. I'm gonna go with the Lions. Detroit impressed me on Thanksgiving. Tampa Bay impressed me to some degree against Cincinnati, but I think Detroit's they need to make a playoff push right now. The NFC is looking pretty strong right now for the wild card spots. Green Bay I think has the NFC North locked up. I don't see them losing another game, so I'm gonna go with the Lions in this one. I think they'll pick up a win.
Yeah, the Lions, they look great on Thanksgiving. The Bears actually got out real quick.
Yeah, they did.
So 14-0, I think, real quick. And then Jay Cutler was Jay Cutler, and the Lions, good defense. shut him down the rest of the game, and it wasn't even close at the end. And so that's about it. I'm going Lions. Bucks aren't a good team. There's no reason to reiterate. Lions, great defense, whatnot. Matt Stafford actually had his best first half ever in his
He
career.
finally scored a touchdown. They couldn't score a touchdown for so long. It's been a couple weeks.
Well, they had 3 straight drives with a TD after that.
Yeah.
Double
Yeah,
Johnson too. And Stafford, he had like 84.5% completion percentage in the first half. He looked great. So Texans at Jags. Who you got? Ryan Fitzpatrick, by the way, 6 fucking TDs out that dude. So trim that beard, man. Can you believe that shit? Holy fuck.
Yeah, and he's a genius. So I'm gonna go with the Texans. J.J. Watt. Oh my goodness, what can this guy not do? If he was a tight end, he'd be Gronkowski. He'd be Gronkowski if he was a tight end.
He's got more touchdowns than I think the Andre Johnson. And he's the fucking defensive end. Defensive guys don't win a lot of MVPs, and I don't think win MVPs ever. But I think you got to talk about him for MVP. I think Aaron Rodgers.
I wouldn't give it to him. I think you got to lead your team to the playoffs.
Either, but I'm saying I think Aaron Rodgers.
In the discussion, absolutely.
I think he's a top 5 candidate.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
You don't see years out of defensive ends that he's having with both sides of the ball and how, man, he's affecting the field everywhere. He's nuts.
He's crazy. He's crazy good.
So,
and I think he was a pizza boy his freshman or sophomore year in college. Just keep that in mind, kids.
Yeah, he's fucking great. So I'm going to take the Texans. Jags aren't a good team. They beat your crappy-ass Giants, so blah. Bills at Broncos. Just say the Broncos so we can move on, because I know you're going to take the Bills, and I'm not taking the Bills.
Broncos.
Yep, I'm taking the Broncos. Chiefs at Cardinals. Good call on the Atlanta game last week, Mikey boy.
Thank you. Dude, this is a tough one to pick. I mean, I know Arizona's at home. Kansas City had that. They played Denver on Sunday night. They lost. Call me crazy. I mean, Patrick Peterson, I think, got exposed in the game last weekend against Atlanta.
He talked a lot of shit. He talked a lot of shit.
Dude, give me Kansas City. I think that the Cardinals could be this year's version of Kansas City last year. They got off to that great start. Obviously, they didn't suffer an injury at quarterback. They just kind of fell apart. Obviously, Arizona did suffer the loss of Carson Palmer. But I think they might have a tough time, and they might end up being the wild card. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle sneaks by and wins the division. So give me Kansas City.
Drew Stanton's not good. Let's just face it. When Arizona's defense is not playing that well, like they did last week, they get exposed, even at home. It didn't matter. Yeah. It did not matter. And Andre Ellington wasn't good last week either. And the Cardinals got weapons. I mean, I know Larry Fitzgerald was hurt, but they still got John Brown.
He's disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
Just quickly. Oh, my God, can he fly?
I mean, that guy's great. I mean, they got weapons, but the problem is Drew Stanton is just not a very accurate quarterback, and he's not a good quarterback. And when Andre Ellington can't run the ball that effectively, and their defense is, Patrick Peterson, their best cornerback, is getting exposed, they're not going to win games. So I'm going with you. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going KC's going to take this on the road. I don't like Drew Stanton, and I think their defense last week showed that they weren't as good as some people thought they were, the way they get exposed. I think they're a beatable squad, and I think you're right. I think they're going to lose a couple more games lose out a couple more games towards the end of the year. They're going to be in the playoffs, yeah, sure. But with Drew Stanton in there, and then when their other facets of their game isn't working, I don't think they look like the 9-1 team that they were, or whatever they were, 9-2, whatever. So Seahawks and Eagles, this is a really good game. Who are you taking?
Yes, it is. Philadelphia impressed me again on Thanksgiving against Dallas, but I'm taking the Seahawks. I think they're going to start getting on a run now. I mean, I have a little bit of Seahawk Kool-Aid in me. I mean, I really like Russell Wilson. I know he's been a little shaky at times this part of the year. The defense looks really good. They shut down the 49ers. That being said, it's not very difficult to shut them down. But I like the Seahawks a lot. That's why I'm taking them. I mean, I like Chip Kelly. I like their whole system. But Mark Sanchez against that Seahawks defense, no shot.
God, this is a hard one because
unless McCoy has a great game running the ball.
McCoy has done good against bad defenses this year. He really hasn't had the year like he did last year where it didn't matter. He was rushing through everyone. And Mark Sanchez, I mean, Dallas' defense is nowhere close to Seattle's, but Dallas' defense isn't as bad as a lot of people perceive. They're like a middle-of-the-pack defense. But they're at home. Seattle, I don't like when they play on the road, even though they got a couple of nice road wins. So, and I know Mark Sanchez is quarterback. And Marshawn Lynch is actually considering retirement, which I think is bullshit, because I heard something like last year he said he was going to retire if the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and they did, and he didn't retire.
Why? Why would he retire? He can get paid.
He doesn't care. That guy just go fucking sponsor Beats headphones and Skittles for the rest of his life, and he's got a name he can make money off of. He'll go be an analyst.
That's a good point.
So, I mean, And a lot of guys get out of the game young, 28, 32 years old, somewhere in between there. I mean,
That's usually because they can't play anymore. This dude can still play.
I think he's just tired of the bullshit through the NFL. I think he's tired of Roger Goodell and the whole because he's not a guy that craves media attention. I mean, he wouldn't talk to the media. He
No.
got fined 100 grand. But how about those birds, baby? I'm gonna take the Eagles. I don't know. They beat Dallas. I like them at home. I just think they're gonna yank this one out. I think they could stop Lynch and make Russell Wilson throw the ball. We'll be able to do it. So here's a real shitty game. Can the Raiders get a point on the board against the 49ers?
No, I'm taking the 49ers. And you know what the best thing about this is? Jim Harbaugh's gone next year. Bring him to New York, boys. Bring in Jim Harbaugh. Give him complete control. I love Jim Harbaugh. I think he's the second best coach in the league, behind Bill Belichick. I would take him any day of the week. I wouldn't trade a draft pick for him because he's probably going to get fired. Give me him. Give me him. I want him so badly. I think the 49ers win, but they're not going to make the playoffs. They're done.
You know what's funny is a lot of people here in Michigan think Jim Harbaugh is going to come coach Michigan because
College?
yeah, I don't get that. Well, because Harbaugh is a Michigan guy.
I know he is. I know he is. But still, when you get a taste of the NFL, I don't know why you go back to college.
That was my point. Why would he go to the NFL, have a lot of success with the 49ers, have a couple NFC Championship appearances, and then go to collegiate? I mean, Pete Carroll was an NFL head coach, and then went to he sucked, and then was USC's head coach, came back, and he's had a lot of success with the Seahawks. But I don't think there's a shot now. I think he's going to get traded to the Raiders, or he's going to go to New York. I think it's his two biggest landing spots. So. But I don't think he's the second best head coach in the NFL. You're full of shit.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You overvalue that guy way too much.
Who's better than him? Just quickly.
Mike McCarthy, I would take him over him
No
instantly.
way. He can't coach a defense. He's a great offensive guy. He can't coach a defense to save my ass, please.
Mike McCarthy is
Harbaugh over McCarthy any
way
day of the
better
week.
coach. And
No,
I would
he's
take John Harbaugh over Jim Harbaugh, too.
well, let's play the scoreboard real quick before we get to the next game. 49ers played the Packers, I think, 2 of the last 3 years in the playoffs. Who won those games? One of them was in Green Bay, keep in mind.
I
One of
admit
them was in Green Bay.
they beat the Packers, but it doesn't mean
Yeah, they did.
it doesn't mean he's a better coach than
Well, he shut down one of the best quarterbacks in the game for one of the games.
He's a better coach. How many consecutive playoff appearances does Jim Harbaugh have? How many losing seasons does Mike McCarthy have? 1.
Jim Harbaugh has been in the NFC Championship, I think, all 3 years.
No, he didn't go last year.
Yeah, he did. They lost to Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah, and then the year before that, they won. They beat Green Bay, and the year before that, they lost to the Giants. So, I mean, look at his resume.
Yeah, that's a short one. Look at Mike McCarthy's. Mike McCarthy's a lot better coach than Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry. And I would take his brother over him in a second. I'm sorry.
All right.
I really would.
Whatever. I just fundamentally disagree. It's not even close, but whatever.
It's a lot closer than you think. You overvalue that guy way too much. Pete Carroll's a better coach than fucking.
No, he isn't, but whatever. Let's move on to the next game before I
Yes,
come through
he
the screen and hit you in the
He
face.
is. He is. It's not even.
I like Pete Carroll, but give me Jim Harbaugh.
I'll take Pete Carroll. All right, Patriots at Chargers. This is a good one.
No, it isn't. New England by a long shot. They're going to kick ass. San Diego, to me, they haven't looked great the last few weeks. I know they squeaked by. They beat Baltimore. New England comes off a loss. They hardly ever lose 2 in a row. I think they're kicking on all cylinders right now. Green Bay is a good team, so I don't really look too negatively at the Patriots after last week's loss. Who's going to stop Gronkowski? I don't see it happening. They're going to be playing in warm weather. I like the Patriots big time.
Packers lucked out that Gronkowski fumbled that ball because that would have been the go-ahead score in the end zone. So he didn't have clean possession all the way through, so they lucked out some. But I'm taking the Patriots as well, even though I got Phillip Rivers as my fantasy QB. I need Phillip Rivers to drop 4 touchdowns for me. But I've been on the Patriots bandwagon all year. I was there. I was one of the naysayers and like, oh, Brady's washed up and they're not going to do this. I've been there the whole season, Mikey boy, have I not, saying that the Brady's not washed up, they're going to be good. And as soon as they lost to Kansas City, I said they were going to beat the shit out of Bengals and they were going to go on a run. And what did they do? They went on a
run.
They went on a huge tear. Tom Brady was arguably the best quarterback in the NFL in that time span, maybe behind Aaron Rodgers. They were about head-to-head. And they won 7 straight games, so they lost to the Packers at Lambeau. So, I mean, who's washed up now? I've been on the Patriots. I've been saying this for the whole year. You can't sleep on this team. They're still a great squad. Tom Brady's still a great quarterback. They're going to beat the Chargers. There's just no doubt about it. And then last but not least, Monday Night Football, Falcons at Packers. Just say Packers because the Falcons fucking suck.
Yeah, Packers, they'll destroy Atlanta.
And remember how you said the Packers, you were talking about how great the Patriots defense were, you think they're the best defense in the NFL, and I told you, you're talking shit about how bad the Packers defense was?
Yeah.
Held him in pretty much check. They only had 1 sack on him, and it was by the Daniels brothers, even though they're not brothers, but they're both.
The Packers defensive line and offensive line I thought were terrific in that game on
Really
Sunday.
good. And I told you, since Clay Matthews shifted to inside linebacker, they've been using him inside and outside. Their run stopping has been a lot better. They held the run game they held him in decently check. I mean, what the fuck happened to Jonas Gray? Like, did he get fired?
He showed up to practice late one week, and then since then he hasn't played.
That Garrett Blunt has always done really well at Lambeau Field, but they held the Patriots running game in somewhat check. It's been one of their biggest weaknesses this year is rushing defense. But Clay Matthews and Peppers look great. They did I think for the most part they did a really good job keeping Gronkowski in check.
They did. No, the Packers were impressive. They're the best team in the NFL.
And I've been telling you this. A lot of people look at their overall defensive rankings. Yeah, it's not great. They have allowed raw rushing yards and blah blah blah. But their defense is better than the statistics say they are. And I think I don't think anyone can argue with this. And you hold one of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL to what? 23 points, 21 points? I mean, yeah. You can't argue with that. So I just want to rub that in. And they're going to beat them. They're unfucking stoppable at Lambeau. They're unstoppable at Lambeau. And Matt Ryan is not going to come in there and beat my boy Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau. So, excuse me. And that's it for the week. So, hope you guys enjoyed the segment. As always, Mike will be back here next week to do Week 15. Can you believe the season's almost over? Fuck, man. This is a quick season. So
when we're back next week, I'll be done with my fall semester, bitches. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And next week we can argue some more about bullshit. So,
absolutely.
All right, guys. You got anything else to add, Mikey boy?
No.
All right. Have a good one, guys. See you next week.